Holy bananas, man. See that little red sparky deal there? I almost burnt the garage down. Welcome back to part duh. So, I just, fixed that a week ago or so, and just got around to this, trying to start this thing, and hold on a second. So welcome back. So that is charred remnants of, Jerry the mouse. So what happened was, I go to start this thing. It was already jerry rigged to begin with. I did a video a few years back. There was something wrong with the electric part of it, and I jerry rigged it to have this starter motor. It's a generator type deal. Kind of bypass some stuff that was attached to that plate, the voltage regulator and a solenoid and a couple other things. But that plate gets mounted here, and everything's hidden. You can't see these the solenoid or the voltage regulator. And then the fuel tank is on top of that booger. So like I said, I go to start this thing, and it kind of went. It started, cranking over, and then all of a sudden I heard a click, click, and like a arc maybe, and maybe some spark, but I didn't really think about it. I just sounded like a dead battery. So I go up to the front garage to get my jump tool, and I come back, and this thing is like literally, the garage was filled with smoke. I was like, holy crap, what the hell? Like a little girl, I was like, oh my God. Because the problem is the fuel tank is, all I could see was a fuel tank, and what I thought was a percolating light underneath, like cinders, which it was, because the the remnants, all that, whatever it is, insulation, whatever that spark was, when I tried to turn it over, apparently a mouse chewed the wrong wire, or the right wire, I guess. And when I go to ignite it or turn it over, something must have sparked, caught that nest on fire, and it's a good thing I came back right away, because that tank does have fuel in it, although it's a metal tank, but it's a rubber hose. so I just, it took me a good 15-20 minutes to get all that crap out. And the wires, I just kind of clipped everything. The old stuff's up on the bench there. It's kind of useless now. Again, I don't know what was wrong with it to begin with, but so I guess I got lucky here. That generator got a little bit torched, but I think everything's okay. So I guess I'm gonna have to do a video now on. I gotta go get a voltage regulator and a solenoid and figure out how to wire this thing back up, because I basically went in there when I was taking everything apart. I ripped most of these wires that you see on the ground. I don't even know what the hell they go to. Probably whatever, I'll figure it out. But so let me suck all that cinders out of there and start from scratch, I guess. So I guess I'm gonna make a video on how to wire a 1965 tractor. Alright, so it's a couple days later. Good old Amazon. I found the 3 components that I think I need. I need a wiring harness too, because that got all compromised, but I couldn't find a wiring harness. This thing's from 1965, so I'm surprised I found any of this stuff really. But the wiring harness I'll have to deal with. So I got a switch like this, where I can just put whatever I need to for the wires, instead of clipping into basically the stock thing. And the old ignition, although it was a lot smaller, I don't know if I might have to drill this out, the key would always fall out. So that was problematic, especially when you're trying to snow blow. So I got everything cleaned up in there. So now I can see there's actually a grease fitting here for this jack shaft, and maybe one over there. I just kind of oiled things up. I took this little booger off here, because it was always giving me problems with this release mechanism. But I see there's a plate over here to get to that grease fitting. Funny enough. The John Deere thought of everything. They're like, yeah, we'll put a grease fit in here, but you're not going to get to it. well, hey, let's put a plate over there, and then you can get to it. That's if you know it's there. But I just happen to see it there. I'm like, how am I going to get a goddamn grease fitting in there, or a grease gun in there? But like I said, so now that it's cleaned up, I'm gonna, while it's apart, lube everything up. But here's the problem. Here's the problem that I was having is this mechanism here, goes in here. I think this way. This, like I said, is where everything bolts up, but that has to go way down. It goes way down, and the fuel tank sits here. You can't get to nothing. I mean, even with the fuel tank off, this plate goes way down. I mean, we're talking like here, it's on the outside now. But the fuel tank just barely, sits about here. No way to get to that stuff. So I guess I'm going to have to bolt everything up as is, like this. Send some wires through. I don't know. I'll just start doing it. See what happens. Alright, so that cradle that I was just showing you sits down in here, right? And the voltage regulator and the solenoid get buried down here, right? I do have some wires left over. I don't even know what the hell this is. I followed the wire down to, basically they were tied together. I followed this whole wire underneath, it's under the transmission there, and they're taped together or wired together. So I'm assuming it's just a neutral safety switch or something for the transmission. I'm not going to worry about that, but this is the generator. Now this is not the original generator. The original generator came to here, about here, years ago when the original generator shit the bed. I found this sucker. Somebody had it on their shelf. I thought it was the same one, but it wasn't. It was, holy crap, is that a crack? Oh, jeez. I think it's just a paint mark. So anyways, I put this sucker in, had to notch this little bracket out to make it fit. But it worked. It worked for years. And like I said, I had to, jerry rig it because something was goofy with the ignition system to begin with. But there's the coil, and the coil wire is here. I clipped it and just stripped it a little bit, just because, I know I'm going to need that. So last night I had to walk away from this because it was making me angry. Not like Hulk angry, just because I couldn't figure out, like aggravating. Because I get, a typical mower today, it's just a solenoid, a battery. You got a battery, a solenoid, and a starter, and a couple of wires. It's really simple stuff. And this should be the same thing. So I guess what's thrown me for a loop was, because I would not have just yanked all these wires out of there. I mean, everything was on smoking and basically on fire, so I didn't have time to sort things out. I just kind of started ripping things up because the gas tank was here. I already told you this, but so I don't have much to go on. I got a little bit to go on, but the problem is this is I'm thinking it's a starter. It is a starter. It's also a generator, and I know that. And this is a solenoid, so that's typical. That's a no-brainer. You put power to this, I mean, I ain't worried about this. It's this fella here. It's got 4 leads to it. The 1 lead on the back and the 3 underneath here, which, they're labeled here. None of these components came with directions, but they're labeled here. One says load, battery, and or L, battery, and F. Not sure what F means, but I'll figure it out. And then there's one on the back side, and that it's not even labeled. So I got to figure that out. But I was thinking last night when I went inside, again, I tried to watch some TV. It was bugging me. I couldn't. I'm like, why is this so difficult? It's not difficult. If I treat this generator like a stator, normally, like today, the engine has a stator underneath the flywheel, which has magnets that produces the electricity. 2 leads come off from that, and then goes into what would be equivalent to this, a voltage rectifier, a voltage regulator, whatever, just to get the voltage back to the battery without, you know, whatever this generator produces and whatever a stator produces is too much for a battery to handle. That's why you need these regulators. So to keep the battery charged, you know, it's got to have some kind of regulator. Anyways, what's throwing me off is this fella, because there's 4 leads coming out of here, and my switch, the original switch, was only 3, and I bought this this is the only one I couldn't find a 3-pronger. So I bought this 4-pronger, and you know, you've got the ignition, you've got battery and accessory, so I'm assuming this is stop here, you know, kill switch. But I haven't figured that out yet, but I will. And here's what I did. I ran some wires. I ran 4 leads up here, got them all ready to go with eyes, plug into this switch, and I'm going to figure this thing out one way or the other. So, you know, here's where I went wrong. I'm trying to use this as a guide for, you know, where things goes. But as you can see, there's a lot of dead ends here. This is just a parts list. If you want these wires, number 5, you know, you scroll down a menu, you know, it's just a parts list. Basically, this thing is junk. I mean, I can't even use it. So I ran the 4 wires. I've got 1 or 2 of them hooked up because I know that's where they go. And I know, there's a couple things I know. This side of one side or the other of a solenoid is going to be battery positive. That's just a no-brainer. So I don't have a battery yet, but I'm going to run a big lead to my battery, get that taken care of. And then coming out of here, well, first you need to activate it, so that obviously has to go up to your switch. So one of these wires that I got wired is going to go here, and then coming out of here needs to go to your generator. Now here's where it gets a little foggy. So I got this, I can hook a lead, you know, out of the solenoid to the generator. Coming out of the generator, going, it's got to go here, I'm sure. I just don't know which lead yet. So I just yanked it up a little bit so you can see better. So this side of the solenoid, I've got going to battery. Yeah. I think it sneaks behind this fuel tank. I'm not sure where that goes yet, but I got enough lead here to do whatever I want with it. If it goes over the tank or under the tank or behind it, whatever. So I've got that done. This lead here. So this center tab on the voltage regulator says BAT. You know, not like the Bruce Wayne kind of bat. So I'm assuming this goes to battery. You got to, right? So instead of running a wire all the way to the battery, which doesn't make sense, the closest avenue is right here because this goes to the battery. So I got it here. I know it's resting on this generator, but once it gets tucked in, it'll be hopefully under there further till the mice eat it again. But so that's there. So that wire goes to here. So I know that because it says battery, goes to the battery, and that's where it's going. So that's licked. Now coming out of here, I'm 100% sure it goes to the generator. I think this tab here, because it looks like it's red. No, because I do have a recollection what this used to look like, and there was a little tiny. In fact, I got to look through my the wires I pulled out of there, see if I got that little lead, because it was a bigger lead. I don't know, maybe a 4 gauge or something. So I'm not sure on this back lead yet, but the next thing was this, I don't know if you can see this wire wiggling. That comes from the coil. So that's going up through here, and it's one of these wires over here. So that goes to the switch. This wire, same thing. I got it running through there as a 4th wire. I'm not sure where it's going to go yet, but I've got that running there. Well, actually, it needs to go. We'll use this green and yellow one. All this stuff came off a dryer, so it's pretty thick gauge wire that I'm using. So this one I'm definitely going to use because it's got an eye right on it. Put that right there, right? I'll put that for the switch for power. See, when we get that on there a little better. When we go and hit the switch, it'll throw this, you know, the solenoid will complete the circuit to over here. Now from over here, we got to go down to the generator. So I already know that part, so that I can hook that up. So the leads on the back of this voltage regulator, they're the only ones I'm unclear of. Alright, so I think this is the way I'm going to do it. So this back terminal is sketchy as shit, man. You see how it's leaning tower Pisa there? The bottom bolt started spinning, the terminal inside. I hope I don't have to take this apart and see if I can fix that. But I got it tight. That's why there's a bunch of washers there. But so hopefully this is the way it goes. So this wire goes right to here. From here to here. It's a little long because when I tuck this in. So the feed is going to go to there. What's labeled F to the back terminal. And all I got is this. Now I did scarf this off the old one. I managed to save this. It's a little charred from the fire, but I think it'll be all right. I don't see any wire. And this wire will go to here, but it's stiff right now, and I don't want to force anything. So once I tuck this in, I'll do that. And the only one that's left is from the back side terminal here. That's where I'm going to hook it. I'm going to go here, both of them to here. So I'll have accessory. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but so I guess next up I got to tuck this in, kind of get it loosely. I'm not going to bolt it up in case I'm wrong, and then figure out this switch. I got 4 leads coming up here, and I got to figure out where they go on the switch, and that's that. So let me get this kind of tucked in out of the way. Alright, I got it tucked in on my light, but I got it tucked in now. So it's not exactly where it needs to be, but it's close enough. It's got to go down a little more, but I don't want to sink anything yet. So I hooked this wire up coming from the back to here, like I said. Now this is hooked up, so that's that. And I forgot, I put 3 wires on the back of that, so technically this could be an accessory wire if I want to put lights on here. So I'm just a little bit thin gauge, but that's the only thing left. This purple thing down here, that goes to a neutral safety switch. And it's bypass, so I don't think I need this. And it probably went to like a mower. This ain't a mower anymore. It's for a snowblower, but I'm sure there's one of these levers had a switch on or something. But it's there. I'm not going to take it off yet in case I do need it. So that's it. All the wires are hooked up. Now I got to move up to the switch and see how that fella goes. And that's it. I'm trying to think here. I guess that's it. I guess if the switch, these safety switches, if they were hooked up, this purple wire, I don't know if you can see that. Let me just do what I'm thinking here first. So right now, that's on battery. That has 12 volts, right? 12 volts. And all these other ones, no, they don't. Okay, so it's off. None of them have voltage. That's just ghost voltage there. None of them have voltage. But if I turn it on, that shouldn't start it. That should just be on. That one has voltage. That one has voltage. And this one does not. So that's the guy I need to send to my, because I'm assuming when I start this, it will have voltage. So we got no voltage right now. If I start this, yeah, so it just went to 12 volts when you crank it over to start. So this green and yellow wire is the one I went to my solenoid. So I'm not sure why. I'm going to hook this back up. I'm not sure why. I'll leave these 2 unhooked for the time being until I figure this out. Let me get some more hands here. Hold on. Alright, so now I've got positive coming in here and this going to the solenoid. So you should hear a click and probably a start. It's on. It's off. Accessory, nothing. Run, nothing, which I expected. I didn't hear a solenoid, but you're not going to hear it until this should start it. Alright, so that's correct. That's what I did, reversing, because I thought one was one. It's not. Alright, this is the ignition. So we'll hook that up to the ignition. Now, I should have spark, and it should run, and it should shut off. Let's see. So, the back side of that voltage regulator for accessory, I'm assuming Shouldn't have hooked that up. Because like I said, I had 4 contacts here. I figured I might as well use them, but I guess not. So, alright, so I'll get the spark thing out again, but I just want to see if this works. Alright, that's run, start, off, accessory, nothing. So I can't have this accessory hooked up to your accessory because that's going to give it 12 volts no matter which way you go. Yeah, see, can't have that one. So I'm okay with that. No accessories. Well, I'll have to measure this off the voltage regulator, see if there's juice coming out of there when that thing is running, and that's where the accessory would be. And you don't need this wire. I just sent it up there because it said accessory, figuring that's what it was. But so let me get some fuel, see if this thing pops over. Oh shit, I got like 4 minutes left. Let's just see if it goes. It gives me a little rumble. That's it. Alright, so I just dragged it outside, put the hood on and the grill. But I left these battery leads long. This is where I'm going to ground it, just to this bolt. But I left them extremely long because I got to get a new battery, and I don't know, whether the positive's going to be on which side or the other. I guess I can do whatever I need, but I don't know what kind of connections they're going to be. So these things are only $1 a piece, so I'll just clip them and resolder them to the length they need to be. But this was snuck behind the gas tank, positively. I just got it coiled around. Like I said, it's long. And then I put this ignition, instead of down here where it originally is, down here, I put it up here because that one switch that I had, from years ago, I took it out, but the hole was the same diameter, so I didn't have to drill anything. And when I lift the hood, I'll be able to get to everything. So I just shitted everything up with a fluid film. I did run that accessory wire up here in case I need it in the future, but I didn't hook it up. So hopefully everything will start here. So let's choke it a little bit. No safety thing, so I ain't gonna worry about a clutch. Take the choke off, I guess. So it is back together and runs good until I guess the mice get in there again and wreak havoc. I guess maybe I should get a cat, a barn cat, or maybe I don't know, a pet owl. They have such a thing, or probably should just put mouse traps up. But anyways, that's all I got. So thanks for watching, and hopefully this thing will run for another 50 years. Yeah. Later.